What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Hey, Burley, welcome, brother. What's up, everybody? We're just getting in here a little early, preparing for our live reading tonight of the Emerald Tablet with Alchemic Mason. He should be sending us an invite to the dual stream in about 10, 12 minutes or so. So once he sends that over, we'll go ahead and get started with the live reading. Again, we'll be reading from the Corpus Hermeticum, and we will be reading the Emerald Tablet, the real Emerald Tablet, not the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. We will be reading from the Emerald Tablet as well as its various translations. There's at least a dozen translations, but about 6 or 7 of them are super popular. So we'll be going through those translations. And then at the end, we'll have a Q&A, or we'll have a discussion first and then a Q&A. So if you have an interest in Greco-Egyptian philosophy, religion, theology, Hermeticism, anything like that, please stick around because we will be getting started momentarily. Got some on my lip. What's going on? What's going on? For those of you who are not familiar with what I do here, I am the Mystical Rebel. And I am an occultist with 20 years, almost 21 years of initiatic experience. And on this channel, what I do is I fight against and correct the lies, the deception, and the misinformation put out by the New Age, the paranormal, and the occult conspiracy communities. And I do this by utilizing esoteric and occult wisdom, knowledge, philosophy, and in some cases, theology. So that's what I normally do. If you take a look at my content, you'll see that most of what I do is either debunking New Age, paranormal, or occult conspiracy stuff, or offering legitimate occult instruction and information. So what's up with the Bitcoin sticker? Oh, you mean on my cup? I invest in Bitcoin. I'm heavily into crypto. 2.5, almost 3 years ago, I got completely out of stocks and moved 100% over to crypto. But this is not a financial live stream. I am not a financial advisor. I do not have Series 7, Series 67, Series 9, Series 92. I don't have any licenses from FINRA or the SEC or anything like that, or the CBOT or the CBOME or anything like that. So this is an occult live stream where we discuss occultism, mysticism, and esotericism. But we will be getting started shortly with the live stream with Alchemic Mason. He should be hopping on shortly, and we'll begin the reading of the legitimate Emerald Tablet. Isn't all beliefs man's perception, so what is real? No. There are practices out there that can be experienced, faith not required, such as occultism. It's repeatable. You don't have to believe me. There's no faith. You don't have to just hope and dream. You can do any of the rituals that I can do. I'm no one special. I'm not some prophet or anything like that. Yeah. But stick around if you're interested in Hermeticism or Greco-Egyptian theology, philosophy, anything like that. We will be reading the Emerald Tablet in just a moment. Once Alchemic Mason hops on, he should be on within the next 10 minutes or so. I got on a little early. We usually don't go live until about 9 p.m. Eastern time. It's 8:50, so we still got about 10 minutes before he hops on and sends us the invite. But what journey is there for us after we die? Good question. I'll show you. I will show you. There you are. So this is what you can look forward to, at least from a Hermetic perspective, when you pass away. This is the chain of manifestation. If you're familiar with Neoplatonic cosmology, this might look familiar. I don't know who came first, but it's also used in Hermetics. So essentially, when a soul leaves the mind of God, that's that thought bubble up here, that giant cloud with the hand coming down, connecting itself to Sophia, who connects herself to the rest of the world. After a soul leaves the mind of God, it travels down through the fixed stars. That's these 3 rings here, the Father, the Holy Spirit, and the Son. Or some might say the Holy Spirit's down here, the Son, then the Father. But, I mean, as long as the Father's at the top, I guess it doesn't matter who's in these next 2 rows. And then in this realm here, these are the seven spheres or the seven planetary celestial bodies. You have to travel down through these. This is where you gain your personality. Then you come down here in through the elemental realms where you form your body and then you incarnate. So when you die, you have to reverse the process. You have to shed your body and shed your personality as you go back up through the spheres, back to the fixed stars, find your way back through here and back to God. Unfortunately, this is not an automatic process. You have to know how to travel back through the spheres. You have to have that knowledge, which the Egyptians called going forth by day. I believe that knowledge can be found in religions like Hermeticism, practices like Kabbalah, things like that, that have a map of the soul and its way back to God. So this is what you would have to look forward to in my cosmology. So, excellent question. Excellent question. Hold on, guys. I gotta blow my nose. I've been dealing with a little bit of a sniffles. Ugh. Thank you. Thank you. You believe in Jesus as a prophet? Yes, I do believe he existed and was a prophet. They said I was not ready yet. Wait, what? Who said? Like a Kevin Hart type of thing? No, he wasn't ready. Are you doing like a Kevin Hart joke or something? Or did I miss something? New here, what do you practice and do? I am an occultist. I practice let me go in order from what I do on a daily basis. I practice Hermeticism as a religion. I practice grimoire tradition as my spirit contact or my spirit work practice. I practice hoodoo for my practical spell work, if I need to affect change in my life or in a friend's life or something like that, because I don't do client work in that way. And I do neo-shamanism for client work. So those are the practices that I'm involved in. I also have a formal initiation in witchcraft, but that permeates throughout all of that. So that's not really, I don't really use witchcraft as its own separate practice. So they said it in mighty words. Good day to you, sir. They said what in mighty words? She said she died. Who said she died? Oh, you mean the person who said that they said it wasn't the time? Excellent, Kevin Hart. Is this a religious belief? Hermetics is a religious belief, but the live stream is not a religious belief, no. We will be starting a religious live stream in about 6 minutes when Alchemic Mason hops on. We will be reading from our holy book and reading the Emerald Tablet, the real Emerald Tablet, not the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. We will save that nonsense for next Wednesday at 9 p.m., where we will compare the real Emerald Tablet to the Emerald Tablets of Thoth and show in real time live why it's not valid, why anybody who believes it, including Billy Carson and his fake research on it, is nothing but nonsense to get money from you. So, have an opinion on Freemasonry, the organization? That will be a question for Alchemic Mason, who will be here in about 5 minutes. He's a Freemason and an alchemist and a Hermeticist, which is why we're going to be doing this together. So that'll be a question for him. I don't have any opinion. I don't have any issues with Freemasons or anything like that. There he is right there, Alchemic Mason. Good evening, my friend.
Good evening, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing well. I am doing well. Let me get mine up there. There we go. There we go. There we go. Let me move this down here.
Spin. There we go. All right.
Yeah,
We
man.
got here. We got to the Emerald Tablet Week.
I know. Finally, hold on. Let me make my thing a little bit bigger. Oh my. Oh my. I don't want to cover the. How about right there? We'll do it like that. Yeah. So we had a 2-week hiatus, and it's been an itchy wait, but we're here. We're finally here.
Yeah, last week my oldest was having a big moment right before, right as I needed to finish getting prepped, and then I got him settled, got him rested, everything was good. So all right, I'm just gonna be late, but still do it. And then I went to grab my Emerald Tablet, and I left it at work.
Oh, wow.
My copy of all my notes, everything was sitting on my desk at work from doing the recordings for posting, and I'm all like, "Are you You kidding me right now?
Yeah. Well, I'm still waiting for my laptop to load up here. I obviously have my copy, but I'm waiting so I can follow along with all the translations. I need to bring up my ebook with all the translations in it.
I got
Because
my
I only
actual
have.
copy. I got printed copy with notes
Oh,
on.
you
Like I
printed it out.
am.
You cheat. You
I,
cheated. I should have printed them out, but I didn't think about that. I just figured I would just use my laptop.
well, see, the only laptop I currently have, I have like my Surface, but it has been chronically not charged for like a month because I keep forgetting to put it on the charger in my bedroom.
Oh wow.
Um, and I got my work laptop, which obviously that's always charged, but feels weird putting religious texts on my work laptop.
Yeah,
And I've
I
got my
understand that.
desktop, but it's right there. And I don't like doing like my computer chair because I just don't like the setting behind me.
Oh, I see. Okay, no worries.
Hi,
Uh,
Sebi. And it's been a minute, so I can't remember if you're aware of the fact that you're trying to trigger me with that phrase or if you're uh, genuinely falling into the trap of the
excuse me.
Kabbalion.
Excuse me.
But for
Pardon
those
me.
not in the know, the Kabbalion is not a Hermetic text.
That is correct. Okay. As soon as it lets me click around, it's still like it's weird.
So whoever's comment just got filtered on live. That's not me. That's TikTok. I have no control over that. But don't use naughty words. So you thought it was Sebi in that case. The guy who wrote the Kabbalion didn't think his ideas could stand on their own. So he decided to claim it was a Hermetic text in order to make the text sound more important. But it has absolutely nothing in common with Hermeticism.
Not even a little bit. Jesus Christ is Lord. For what shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world but lose his soul? You must not be familiar with Western esotericism or Hermeticism or anything like that. Jesus Christ is Lord. I urge you to do what your Bible says and inflame thyself with prayer. Use the Bible as the sword and your faith as the shield, as your Bible commands you. And take a look outside of religion. You shouldn't fear. You shouldn't fear with the sword and the shield. You have the sword and the shield. You should have no fear of studying other things. Your God will protect you, right? So fear not. Cover yourself and study Western esotericism. Unless your God isn't strong enough to protect you from the demons that are out there that'll get you. Come on.
Recommendations for someone trying to learn Hermetics? Honestly, like Sebi, I've had enough conversations with you. You're pretty clever. I think you could just dive right in with the actual Corpus Hermetica. Um, Message me. I'll send you a couple of translations that I enjoy for that. Alternatively, if you're wanting one that is a little less, one that's a little more pre-chewed, I guess, one that's just got the esoterics and the depth of it kind of explained a little clearer. The Hermetica by Freke, Freke, is a phenomenal one. I absolutely love that one as a starting point.
There we go. Someone said, good to know. Oh, love the debunking and skepticism happening here. It's good to know what's established in tradition. You're very welcome. Not a problem at all. That's what we do here. And that's
And to
sort
be
of why
clear,
I'm sorry?
we don't like you mentioned establishing in tradition. We don't have beef with neo hermetics or anything that is like a
Oh yeah,
newer
no.
concept of the hermetic work. Like
If they're honest.
Brandon, what's that?
If they're honest about it.
Yeah, Brandon, is that his name? For some reason, my brain is just not with it.
For who? For what? Brandon?
Barden, Franz Barden.
Oh, Barton. Yes,
His
that's it,
system of
Brandon.
initiation, it's gorgeous. The phenomenal system. It's neo hermetic, but it is definitely awesome.
Yeah,
Oh,
Barton is super super interesting, but super super dense. But he knows his shit, and if you
yeah.
work through Barton, I have no doubt that you will be able to achieve great things in occultism. But be prepared for a wild wild ride.
But he it told me to swipe on my screen to see more comments, and I do it, and I'm all like throwing my camera off the
Yeah,
page.
that's the only issue with this filter, this like background. Every time I'm trying to scroll up, I mean it won't happen tonight because we're dual screening, so it
Yeah.
separates it. But when I'm live by myself, every time I try to scroll up, it'll move my little circle head around. It's like, what the hell?
But yeah, the Barden stuff is all very Neo, but he's honest about that. He explains its transliteration. He goes, and because of that, I have nothing but respect for it. It's things
Hmm.
like the Kabbalion that, like, not only is it not hermetic, but a lot of the teachings are straight anti-hermetic. And
Yeah.
yeah,
So TikToking says, so are Toth's tablets not the same as Hermes tablets? Isn't he supposed to be the third incarnation? Toth's tablets are a channeled text from what was it, Alchemic, the 30s or the 50s?
uh,
When was it?
1963, I believe.
The 60s, the 60s. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a channel text, not ancient at all, not from, 36,000 years ago as, Billy Carson and all that try to claim. It's a channel text. It doesn't resemble any sort of philosophy or religious attributes to medieval or Renaissance theology, which is what it would have been purporting to come out of. So yeah, you are speaking nothing but ludicrous. Would you care to provide an actual argument? Because I could just repeat the same thing back to you. You're speaking nothing but ludicrous. Now what? Like, can you
Can
can you
you
provide an
give me
argument?
context about what was ludicrous? Like, was
Yeah,
it the
he
claim that
won't.
the Emerald Tablets of Thoth the Atlantean are 100% made up nonsense? Because I will tell you the story of Doriel. I love telling the story of Doriel.
Wait, wait till next because Magical Octopus says so. What's the difference between the two? But that's next week, guys. Next week
Yeah.
we're doing the comparison between the real Emerald Tablets that we're reading tonight and the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, which are absolute nonsense. Next week, next Wednesday at 9 p.m. Same time. Meet us here next week, same time, and we will gladly spend the next 2 hours going over that with you.
Good evening, brother Drew. Metal Drew wants to know how do we feel about Graham Hancock? Um,
Metal. I don't know too much of his work actually.
I'm actually trying to sit here and think like I don't know if I have an opinion on him. I don't know if I actually like under know enough of his body of work to have an opinion.
One second. Yeah, I don't know of any of his work, so I can't really give an opinion.
Also, bear in mind though, like I am abysmal with names, so I probably do know him, but I would need like a reference of body of work to like click and actually, oh, that guy. Oh boy. Hmm.
Ooh. That's awesome that you're actually exposing the lies of the Doriel books. Well, thank you very much. Thank you. Hopefully you'll be here next week because you seem like you might have some knowledge. So we'd love to have you next week with us, engaging in the discussion, as well as tonight, of course. But tonight we're just going to be doing the Emerald Tablets itself, which is a very short read. So we're going to be including the various translations as well, comparing them, discussing them, because it's literally a one-page thing. So
You say one page. I think I actually have. Yeah, this one's got multiple translations on a single
yeah,
page.
yeah. The one that I have up has two translations on this page, two on this page. Yeah, I guess it's just two. Two on this page. Oh, three on this
Yeah.
page. The Fulcanelli, both of Fulcanelli's and Blavatsky's fit on one page. Interesting. But Mason, someone has a question for you.
Okay.
Hello. This is from Jeff Sai. Jeff Say one. Hello. Is Freemasonry devil worship?
No, it's easy.
Why? Why not, Alchemic? Why don't you guys worship the devil?
Is an orange devil worship? It's such a non sequitur that how do you even connect it?
Anything outside of Christianity is devil worship.
I mean, in that again, then in that case, the orange would be devil worship.
Well, yeah. I guess you're right. Ooh, excuse me. Hancock is super entertaining, but shouldn't be taken too seriously. He himself might agree. Okay, isn't Graham Hancock that Ancient Aliens and Gaia spoke for? I don't know. As much as I would love to, debunk the stuff on Gaia, I can't bring myself to pay for a subscription, and I can't find like any of their full episodes that are like that because I don't do UFO or cryptid stuff, so I can't find any like occult conspiracy, secret society, Illuminati type videos on their YouTube. So if anybody has any, please send them to me because I would love to debunk some Gaia stuff.
Hi, Pennsylvania Witch. Why the deep sigh?
And
Mhm.
forgive me for always getting up and blowing my nose and everything. I've been ever since last night. I've been dealing with not a cold or anything, but just my nose has been like stuffy and runny, and I don't know. I don't have no
My
fever. I don't have no chills. I don't have a
my
sore throat.
allergies have
It's
been tore up for the past like week, just abysmal.
See, I don't think it's allergies because my allergies always f with my sinuses. So my sinuses are yeah, they're fine. So I don't know why I just did that, but but my sinuses are fine. So I don't know. I don't know. Randall Carlson is a Freemason and he's best buds with Graham Hancock. Just a testament to them. Interesting. Benjamin Drummond says, "Hail the orange." All hail.
Ah. Yeah,
In the
it's
name
one of those things. It's not that I like on the Graham Hancock thing. I'm not trying to like kick cans or like hedge bets. So my wife will play this game, which is like, oh, this so and so actor or actress from blah blah blah. And I'm like, I'm just staring at her, and then she'll realize what's happened, and she'll stop, and she'll go, they played this character in that movie. Okay, now I know who you're talking about.
of.
I have worked with people for years and not known their names. I know
Oh, wow.
them, but I don't know. I know their favorite foods. I know what they like to go to do. I know what they did this weekend, but I can't remember their name. I should also know I forget my own birthday regularly. So it's like me and names not great.
I know a lot of people like that. Gaia is BS in my opinion. Oh yeah, it's definitely BS. But I mean, I don't debunk all of the New Age. I focus on only the stuff that is watered down occultism. So that's why I don't talk about aliens or the Bigfoot or Alabama White Fang or any of that nonsense. Strange lights in the woods. I don't talk about any of that. So theistic Satanism is devil worship. If you want to find devil worshippers, it ain't hard. That's true. That is true. Robert Anton Wilson was the last great grounded conspiracy theorist. Um, I mean, maybe you are right. I don't know. Every conspiracy theorist I know, like super, like influencer conspiracy theorist, is kind of a little woo woo. So programs like Gaia need to stress the importance of having good discernment, but they won't because then if they do that, you wouldn't give them any money because good discernment would say don't believe anything that Gaia says. Like literally 99.99% of the things that they say are incorrect and watered down nonsense. The most that they'll say that's valid is, we all come from one source. Thank you. Thanks for the teaching us what almost every other religion in the world teaches us. Thank you. Thank you for that. Now I'm enlightened.
Yeah, Pennsylvania. It's one of those. I don't mind that my memory works the way that it does because, like, my wife always jokes, I have an eidetic memory for music. If I hear a song, I know that song. I will hum it. Like it comes on the radio, I'm ready to jam out to it. I'm pretty sure if you put me on rock band right now and pulled up Paramore's I can't remember the name of the song, but I'm gonna 100% the
That's what
vocals
you
on that.
get.
Yeah, that one. I'm gonna knock out of the park. But I can't remember the lead singer's name to save my life. I
What?
can't remember the
Haley,
song's name. What's
Haley,
that?
uh, Haley, Haley something, Haley something,
That sounds right. I believe that's right.
Haley Stevens, Haley Reed, not Haley Steinfeld, but Haley something. I don't know. I know it's Haley.
I just realized
I
I have
honestly
two
never really
translations for
understood.
Fulcanelli in front of me.
Yeah, man, I am ready to get started whenever you are. I know it's a short one,
Yeah.
um, but I'm ready to get started whenever you are, man. Speaking of
It's
which,
kind of fun. Like,
how do you want to break? Because I mean, mine's
we
only
could
two
take turns
paragraphs.
reading them. I mean, each one is shorter than what we've read in the past.
Okay, all right, yeah. So let's just take turns reading the
So,
translation.
since you have that one, um, I'm going to kick it off with Sir Isaac Newton's translation.
Okay.
That's
Oh, wait
cool
a
with
second.
you?
Karen wants to know if we are going to put this on YouTube. Are you okay if I upload this to YouTube, Alchemic?
Yeah.
All
In
right.
theory, I'm going to as well. But in theory, I'm going to as well since the day we started these, and none of them have ever been posted. So
Yes, Karen, it will be on my YouTube. So yes, I hope to have it up probably by the weekend. So you're welcome. You're welcome. No problem. All right. So do you want to start or do you want me to start?
You go ahead and kick it off. I've done a lot of starts. I'll let you kick it off.
All right. So we're reading the Emerald Tablet, guys. We're going to be starting with my translation found in the Hermetica, the Dialogues of Hermes Trismegistus from Ouroboros Press. Alchemic has the Emerald Tablet to Hermes. I can't read the author. Hermes. Oh, Hermes Trismegistus.
Oh, is it? Did it not flip? Is it showing correctly?
Well, for me, it's showing mirrored, so like backwards. So
It shows mirrored for me, but I remember like it's backwards for other people. I can't remember.
yeah, I don't know.
The chat let me know if my
But
book
yeah.
is backwards or to you or not.
So if you guys want to follow along, just go ahead and Google Emerald Tablet. I'm pretty sure you'll find a million. Well, Emerald Tablet of Hermes. I'm sure you will find a million and one free translations. So we'll go ahead and get started. Siftis says it's backwards. Sif first person shooter. So it's backwards. There you go. Now I see it. There
Awesome.
you go.
Cool. That feels weird.
All right. Emerald Tablet or Tabula Smaragdina. True it is, without falsehood, certain and most true. That which is above is from that which is below, and that which is below is from that which is above. For the performance of the miracle of the one thing. And as all things are from one, by the mediation of one, so all things have their birth from this one thing, by adaptation. The sun is its father, the moon its mother. The wind carries it in its belly. Its nurse is the earth. This is the father of all perfection, or consummation of the whole world. Its power is integrating, if it be turned into earth. Thou shalt separate the earth from the fire, the subtle from the gross, with cunning and with sagacity. It ascends from the earth to heaven and descends again to earth. It receives the power of the superiors and of the inferiors. So thou hast the glory of the whole world. Therefore let all obscurity flee before thee. This is the strong force of all forces, overcoming every subtle and penetrating every solid thing. So the world was created, hence were all wonderful adaptations of which this is the manner. Therefore I am called Hermes Trismegistus, having the three parts of the philosophy of the whole world. What have I to tell is, or excuse me, what I have to tell is completed concerning the operation of the sun. And that is my translation of the Emerald Tablet.
God, I love this thing. Also, there was one word in there. 7A.
What?
Um,
7?
7A, the like very end of it, like sagacity or something like that.
Okay, mine it doesn't have. Oh, okay. So sagacity. Where. So thou shalt separate the earth from the fire, the subtle from the gross, with cunning and with sagacity.
I consider myself fairly well read. What is sagacity?
I would guess it means with because from what 7a says on this translation, I guess with great power. I don't know. Let's Google it. Sagacity.
It's like that almost seems like they were doing a transliteration and they were like, thesaurus.com.
Sagacity. The quality of being sagacious. What does that mean? Sagacious, having or shown keen mental discernment and good judgment, or being
Okay.
shrewd. So that's what it means.
All right. So I'm going to follow that up with sage-like. Okay, sage-like. Sage. That makes it click. Thank you, Ex Ludo. Okay, that tracks now. The problem with having so many different amazing translations, I'm like, oh, I want to do this one. Oh, but this one's really good. Oh,
Yeah.
that would be really cool.
Synthetic J says it basically means shrewd. Thank you, Jay. Thank you very much.
Now I was looking through some of them and like you spoke me into existence, Geoff. It's good to see you, brother. Let's see, where did it go? I had it up in here and then I set it aside. There it is.
Woo! Why don't we just cut the tension and go right to the Blavatsky translation? No, I'm kidding.
Oh wow, you're just gonna go for it, huh? So I got two different translations of Newton, and it's weird because one of them is like more old English. So I'm gonna shoot for that one real quick.
The Isaac Newton?
It's the Newton from the one that you sent me because it's different than the one in my book.
So my Isaac Newton starts out with "'Tis true without lying, certain and most true."
Yep, it's
Okay.
minor differences, but it's like that which I have said of ye operation of ye son. Ah, the ye's are these. Okay, I see. It's the Old English spellings, but the same modern words. So it's the same one.
Okay.
"'Tis true without lying, certain and most true. That which is above, or sorry, that which is below is like that which is above, and that which is above is like that which is below, to do the miracles of one only thing. And as all things have been and arose from one by the mediation of one, so all things have their birth from this one thing by adaptation. The sun is its father, the moon its mother. The wind hath carried it in its belly, the earth its nurse. The father of all perfection in the whole world is here. Its force of power is entire, if it be converted into earth. Separate thou earth from the fire, the subtle from the gross, sweetly, and with great industry. It ascends from the earth to the heaven, and again it descends to the earth, and receives the force of things superior and inferior. By this means you shall have the glory of the whole world, and thereby all obscurity shall fly from you. Its force is above all force, for it vanquishes every subtle thing and penetrates every solid thing. So was the world created. From this are and do come admirable adaptations, whereof the means or process is herein this. Hence, I am called Hermes Trismegist, having the three parts of the philosophy of the whole world. That which I have said of the operation of the sun is accomplished and ended.
Excellent. Excellent. Yes, Burley. Isaac Newton. Yes, like the scientist, Isaac Newton. He had a translation. He was interested in alchemy and hermetics and things like that.
He wasn't just interested in alchemy, he was like deep into alchemy. He had a lab. There was one point in his life where he kind of went off the rails because he gave himself mercury poisoning, specifically
Yeah.
trying to convert mercury into gold.
They don't teach you that in school. They don't want you to know. But yes, Isaac Newton.
Yep, that Isaac Newton, the one who came up with the theory of gravity, was an alchemist, bona fide.
I like the Fucanelli, or the first Fucanelli that I have here, from translated from French by Stephen King, or
Huh?
Steve King, where it starts out saying, "This is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth." Like starts out, I'm like, wait, what?
I'm curious which one's a reference to which. Like, is
Yeah,
there like a cultural reference that comes from?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like, when they make you swear on the Bible, in a court of law, I think that might have some sort of origin. I won't say it comes from Fucanelli, but I think it might have some origin and maybe some spiritual thing.
what I'm curious about is Fulcanelli was French, and I know a lot of our justice system and such was based on French concepts.
Oh, I
So
was not
I'm
aware of that.
curious if Fulcanelli there's a cultural reference that he was making in his translation, and
Huh.
we are also making that same cultural reference.
Perhaps I was not aware that a lot of our like justice system or whatever is based on like French whatever.
Well,
I
it's one
was
of the
not
things
aware of
that
that.
like they always talk about, in American history, Lafayette, the general of the American Revolution, but he was a French citizen the entire time.
Yeah, that yeah, that's true.
France was fundamental to the other forming of America. I mean, even the Statue of Liberty was a gift from them
Hmm.
because of how much they admired us
I
going through
mean,
with their plans.
we bought a whole state from them.
Yeah, we
Um,
bought a lot of states from them.
well, yeah. Burley has a question for you.
All right.
Wait, so can alchemy really like change material, or is that a metaphor?
Yes, both. Alchemy is the. Excludo, tell me if I misphrase it. Alchemy is the art of changing one thing into its more perfected state. So that is both a metaphor for you as a person to improve yourself, to make yourself the better version of you, but it is also the arts and techniques of taking a material and turning it into its more perfected self.
Exactly. There you go, Burley. He says, I don't practice alchemy, so I don't know. No worries. That's what we're here for to help you out, man. I'm learning that a lot of our great minds were spiritualists to some degree. Truly amazing. Yeah,
Wait until
and
you
you'd be
discover that
surprised at what they were involved with.
Pythagoras, that Pythagoras, the one whose theorem you had to memorize, that was just a mathematician. He had an entire like church system and cult and religion that he built and designed because you don't hear about that part.
Nope, not till you get into college and you start taking like advanced level religious history or something like that. Um, Burley says, so wait, can you give an example of that, like material changing, or is it only with like science?
Um, Bear in mind we're talking about absolutely massive. Like this is not something that I'm going to be doing in my basement lab that I'm working on. This is something that is like, if you believe the legends, but people have developed techniques for turning materials, base metals, into gold or into other materials. Um, According to legend, Count of Saint Germain was capable of turning carbon into diamonds.
Do you have any recommendations for books for beginners in alchemy?
Golden Chain of Hermes.
There you go, Anthony. Anthony Joel. Golden Chain of Hermes.
I am very much of the mind that the philosophical mental components have to be in that foundational teaching before you start picking up test tubes and burners. Because while you cannot go as far in spiritual and personal and allegorical alchemy without getting into the physical side, you still need that mental component there to progress in the physical as well. And it's way easier to get Golden Chain of Homer, sit down, read it, really dive deep and get in on it before you pick up actual equipment and start on that side. So I feel like that's just the easier starting point.
Karen says if you fry an egg, you can change one form into another.
That's
When you do
changing a
alchemic lab
form. It's
work,
not the same as perfecting it.
true, that's true. Drew Dizzy says when you do alchemic lab work, the results are said to be a reflection of your own spiritual alchemy, and he agrees that Homer's Golden Chain is a good read.
Hermes Golden Chain wasn't like I came to this great prophetic statement. That is the recommendation of other alchemists who are like, I'm going to start on this, and they're like, start with the philosophies. Go learn the philosophies first, otherwise this is going to break you. Next, Ludo's even saying right now that they started with the test tubes and burners. I think Lex Ludo, you started with Freighter Albus, right? And then got to a point where the lab just stalled out until they got that additional philosophy. They needed that extra mental work.
They said they would boil down phosphorus into the Philosopher's Stone. This is
Phosphorus is a part of it. But you also bear in mind when we say things like sulfur and mercury, these aren't just the raw materials as we think about them. They're components that can be used in multiple ways.
exactly.
Hey, Anthony, Joe, yeah, I do. I have not been as active on TikTok the past month or so as I usually am. Had a big tournament for one of my hobbies. It knocked me out of the habit, and then family sicknesses, and sometimes the habits just take a minute to get in there. But I do alchemical lives fairly often. They may increase in frequency as I'm working on my home lab. But if you are looking to see more alchemical videos, the person who commented right above you, ex Ludolusum, has just an absolute volume of phenomenal videos in alchemy. I highly, highly, highly recommend.
Drew Dizzy says phosphorus was probably used for the catalyst or something. Sulfur for the reddening, rubrido, or I guess something, or sone, SONE. I don't know what that is. I'm not an alchemist. Maybe he meant to say something and it wouldn't fit.
Yeah. Bear in mind, there is a lot of conflation of people assuming early chemistry and alchemy are synonymous, and you could just grab one like, oh, that's what they were doing, or this is what they were doing. Um, they may have root etymology that they share in back when, but it's so far back as to be a trivia point, not an actual fact. Alchemy and chemistry are not the same thing. Alchemy is not chemistry before they figured out how to things actually work. It is a different science. It is a different purpose in its existence.
Yeah. Great question, guys. Great questions. And their own topic, since the Emerald Tablet is
Yep.
about alchemy.
Fundamental alchemic text. Supposedly, if you can truly understand these 14 lines, you will have everything that you need to craft the Philosopher's Stone. The great
Well,
work, the magnum opus.
well, I won't pretend to understand to like fully understand all of it. But the second pair. Well, let me see what it would be in yours. Let me go back up to what you just read. You read the Isaac Newton one, right? There it is.
Yes.
So from eight on, I feel like I have well, I mean, I guess maybe even from four, maybe from four on. The sun is its father, the mother, or the moon its mother. The wind hath carried in its belly, and the earth its nurse. Perhaps I would have to meditate on that a little bit, maybe flesh out my thoughts there. But I feel confident from from 7A, which is alchemy, and 8. I feel like 8 is spiritual alchemy. I feel like 8 is referencing the alchemical marriage, one getting in touch with their holy guardian angel. But I can also see it being the descent of a soul from the mind of God and the ascent of a soul back to God. So, which is the same path, one would take for the alchemic marriage.
You even look at like 7A, you separate the earth from the fire. When you get into like the basics of alchemy, where you start aligning the elements with the three core components and cyclical nature that they start to form. Like I remember Ex Ludo had an awesome video where they were actually trying to do a chart that showed how the three core components, the salt, the sulfur, and the mercury, aligned with the four elements, but it's cyclical
Yeah,
because they don't perfectly match up. And so you get into
yeah,
this like recursive feedback loop on it. And so those separations, those repetitions, you see those in alchemy when you actually get down. Even if all you're doing is spagyrics, a lot of this, like I that that's familiar. That's
yeah,
resonating something.
yeah. Three stages to the stone, but the formula, geometrically speaking, has four parts. Confusing stuff. That's from Drew Dizzy.
I will be honest. Like I am nowhere near at the level where I'm like contemplating working at the stone. I enjoy looking at the Mutus Liber and just meditating on the imagery, but there's so much symbolism and stuff even in that level of breaking down that I'm like, I'm still just gonna make my little plant spagyrics in my kitchen and be happy for now. The X Little gave a beautiful, beautiful breakdown that compares alchemy versus chemistry that I love. In alchemy, unlike chemistry, the observer and the observation are not separated. The observer and the experiment are together and are one in the thing, whereas in chemistry, the observer is separated. They're outside, they're watching the experiment.
Goes back to what Drew was saying earlier when he said when you do alchemic lab work, the results are said to be a reflection of your own spiritual alchemy.
Yep. I mean, that's just that's as hard as it is to say, that is just a hardcore fact in esoterics. That's a fact. That is just objectively true.
Karen says, been studying the Emerald Tablet for 20 years, only now getting an understanding of bits and pieces. Yeah, listen, I know how you feel. I've been doing occultism for 20 years, and every day I learn something new, or there's a new insight or a revelation or something like that about my own practices. Not about like a new thing I've never heard of, but like my own practices. Like for example, I've been reading the three books of occult for like what? I went to college when I was 17. So I've been reading the three books of occult philosophy for like 13 years. It wasn't until I got this Eric Purdue edition that book three really opened up, like really opened up, and I really started to understand some cosmological things, which brought me into Hermeticism. So, but yeah.
It's
So
it's it's these little nuances. Like I'm going to read like line one of the Isaac Newton translation, and then line one of the Fulcanelli. In Isaac Newton, he says, "'Tis true without lying, certain and most true." Fulcanelli is, "It is true without untruth, certain and most true." Lying versus untruth. There is so much, in my opinion, depth in the
mhm.
difference in that word choice.
Yeah.
Because an untruth is something that it could be a mistake, it could be a simple error, it could
Hmm.
be an unintentional falsehood or just a misunderstanding. Whereas lying is that intentional.
Intentional. Yep. Yep. Which is why I always say, and I know people always hate it, during my live streams where because I nitpick little words here and there, but nuance does really matter within occultism, esotericism, and mysticism. It really does. Nuance matters. And this is an excellent case for when and why it does matter.
And just going to take a random pop shot here for reasons that people who are frequents here understand. I note that
Okay.
Blavatsky doesn't include that line.
Oh, really? What a ah, she doesn't. Oh, what a. Of course. Why would she? Because then that would have to mean that she admits that everything she's been teaching is a lie.
Oh, Exludo, you're on fire tonight. Nuance is a requisite to discernment.
Yeah, but most people don't
Blavatsky.
wouldn't wouldn't know. Magnum opus. I wish I
Yeah.
could write mine in magnum opus. Man or make of man and woman a circle. From that a square, then a triangle, then another circle, and you will have the philosopher's stone.
Squaring the circle.
Interesting. Bro, the alchemical jargon is intimidating. I agree. I used to play around with spagyrics 10 years ago, but yeah, I alchemy is it's a whole other thing. I wouldn't even know where to begin with anything like that.
And I think that's one of the things
Physical alchemy, yeah.
I genuinely love about it, because if you were into something like a ritual magic is largely about like learning the ritual and performing the
Mhm.
ritual. And you know you have achieved mastery of that specific ritual when you're able to perform it correctly. But it's
Mhm.
very hard to see like, I guess, progress as you're going, because you know where you're going to end at the start. Whereas with
Right.
alchemy, we can theorize all day long about what the philosopher's stone is and what it might be and what it's like and what it would look like to succeed. But in the end, none of the people who have purportedly performed it have ever shown a physical stone.
Yeah, that's true. That's
And so
very
you
true.
have this. It's called. I say this often. It's called the great work. And so part of me wants to believe that the point is the actual effort itself.
I don't. I mean, I'm not. I would not pretend to be any sort of alchemist, but I feel like the great work is the alchemical marriage. I feel like that is the goal of the great work, to achieve K and C with your HGA, and then once you're at that point, that's when the actual work begins. So I kind of feel like the great work is an initiation into the actual work, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Because I feel like a lot of newbies see the term the great work, and they think that once they've done it, that's it, they're done, there's nothing else to do, and that's not the case.
it's horrible. I hate that it is even coming up in a discussion of this like magnitude. There's a South Park episode where they have to go through all this stuff, right? Finally beat the bully that was on the Warhand that was on World of Warcraft, and they
Oh, I thought you were talking
finally
about
beat it. And
Brian
like, well, what do
Bortana.
we do now? Well, now we can finally play the game. The ability to complete the great work is to actually gain the ability to begin the work.
Exactly, and I don't think people really understand that in the context of occultism, what that actually means. But yeah, it's not a destination. The great work is kind of permission to start the journey to get to the destination. So, um, I skipped a question earlier. Let me, before I went on my little rant there. Civ first person shooter says, I am new to learning about alchemy. What is the ultimate goal of it? Is it scientific or is it spiritual?
The fact that we have as a society differentiated between those two is probably one of the greatest harms we have done to ourselves as a race. Science and spirituality both are methods seeking to understand the world around us.
Mm-hmm. And they
So,
complement each
in
other.
that regard, the answer to your question is yes. That is the goal of alchemy, to understand the world around you. It just does not bother putting that distinction in. The distinction didn't exist in the times that alchemy began. Um, in reality, most occultists will tell you it doesn't exist now. You talk about the Ex Ludo had that perfect quote earlier about chemistry is separating the observer from the experiment, whereas alchemy is accepting that the observer will always be a part of the experiment, and that itself is a part of the like a facet of it. Now we just call that quantum mechanics. I
Yeah.
changed the word and I have another way of showing it off, and now it's more real. Like,
Exactly.
and I'm not
Exactly.
saying like, oh, quantum mechanics explains alchemy. It's the same thing. I'm just saying that we already know that there's so many components to the universe we can't explain, and that the actual act of observance alters it. That's been a concept of occultism for literal millennia.
Yeah.
Separating it out like that is only making everything take longer to figure out.
Some might say that's exactly what they want.
Ooh,
Um,
somebody get like Ex Ludo a notepad to just keep it up tonight. Spirituality without science is armchair stuff. Science without spirituality is just process.
huh. Okay.
Pack it up, folks. We're
Okay.
done.
I like that. I like that. I also like what Drew Dizzy says here. The layers, so it's a lot. There's three separate posts here. The layers of meaning in the Emerald Tablet have been associated with the creation of the Philosopher's Stone, laboratory experimentation, phase transition, and alchemical magnum opus. The ancient classical element system and the correspondence between macrocosm and microcosm.
Yeah.
I like
Um,
that.
one of the things I was reading is someone was theorizing that the Philosopher's Stone, in its succeeding, the ability to transmute mercury to gold. If you were to succeed at that, the process itself will like going through that. Along that process, you will achieve gnosis. And so the Philosopher's Stone, the achieving the ability to do that, will give you that perfect knowledge and understanding. And so it's not that you've learned how to transmute mercury to gold. It's that you have achieved such an understanding of the universe that that is now something you understand how to do.
Boom. Sif, first person shooter, says he completely agrees. Thank you. Or he completely resonates. Excuse me. Thank you. That quote went crazy. Yeah, it did.
I screen cap. I'm like that's staying with me for a minute. That's like I don't have a soul. I am a soul. I have a body. That's like that level of just that hits.
Yeah. That's why I mean it's great that we don't have just viewers, right? We have people who understand what we're talking about and are engaging in the conversation. I love it. On both our feeds, I got Drew and Sif first person shooter over here, and you've got what'd you say his name? Lucius Lux
Ex Ludo Lucem.
Ex Ludo
Ludo
Lucem. Excuse me.
Lucem.
Sorry about that. Ex Ludo Lucem.
I am simultaneously overjoyed and heartbroken at the lack of Full Metal Alchemist references we've had, though.
I wouldn't know. As you guys, I don't watch any anime, so I wouldn't know anything about that. So would that wait, let me read this. So would that kind of mean matter came from mind, thought originally? Originally, yes, everything would have come from mind. Um, but yeah, uh, do you want to add to that?
I mean, it goes back to that whole emanations of God. Like, depending on how you define mind, if you're talking about source, monad, creation, then yes, the Emerald Tablet would purport that. I mean, that's very Hermetic. It's very Platonic, Neoplatonic. Like, that's the basis of where all this comes from.
Mhm. Agreed. The day
But
science begins to study non-physical phenomena, it will make more progress in one decade than in all the previous centuries of its existence. Nikola Tesla. Yeah, that's true. But they're afraid of what they're going to find.
I don't know if it's so much that they're afraid of what they will find. Um,
It'll
Humans have this
undo
bad
everything we
habit
learned.
of overcorrection. If you've ever been on an icy road and you start to slide a little bit off to one side, the instinct is to grab the wheel and go as hard as you can to the other side. And
Right.
so we look at the Dark Ages, this horrible period of human history where science was completely abandoned. And we think to ourselves, well, obviously, removing science went horrible. So if you remove one ingredient and the other one was horrible, then the other one must just always be horrible and should be the one that's removed. And it never occurs to them that it's actually the two working in harmony that make them work. And if you remove the other ingredient, the, the one you liked now is going to be the one that's horrible. And so to say that, yes, a period of history where we took away all science and we focused purely on religion did not go well. I'm of the mind doing the reverse is going to end about the same.
Exactly. Yeah. There's got to be. Oh, what is that word? An alchemical marriage of the two.
There's a I don't know if it's a recent trend or if it's just one of those that I'm more recently aware of it, but the anti-theists have been really huge on determinism.
Yes. Yes.
We
I've
don't
been seeing
have
that on
free
Twitter.
will. It's all this calculation, and that's what's going to happen. That is horrifying to me. That entire worldview, I'm like, that is so easily to me to just lose all sake of humanity because it doesn't matter. You're just a computer calculation.
Yeah. Yep. I see that stuff because I still follow Georgina Rose, and she's like deep into the philosophy Twitter. So I see all of her, conversations and stuff like that. So I see all of that, and yeah, I'm not a fan. Tesla's theories on ether, however you want to say it, are very interesting to me. Greetings, X from the other side. There's a lot of interesting stuff about how society in the ancient world used to harness free energy, and that kind of stuff probably went hand in hand with spirituality. Um, I don't. don't, maybe in some cultures like the Egyptians, because a lot of their energy stuff was in temples and stuff like that. I haven't done enough research on like the Mayans and the Aztecs or the ancient Chinese peoples or anything like that to say if it was like multiple cultures. That would make sense, but I don't want to speculate. I do know that the Egyptians did it. But
It
I
is
I'm
it
sorry.
is so insanely hard to make those kind of like one of the things that will get me to automatically disagree with you is to say something as fact. So saying the
Yeah.
ancient Egyptians did this, I'm immediately going to be like, hold on a second. It's really, really hard to put down those kinds of yes, they definitely did, because
Mhm.
think about your phone. We can barely make phones that still function after a year. Taking 2.5, 3,000 years ago, they had that kind of technology, we wouldn't have signs of it. And so I can't definitively say for sure, no, we didn't. It's a teapot in space.
Right.
But at the same time, there's no way to really show, oh, for absolutely they did.
Yeah.
So I think it is cool to think about. It is a cool thought experiment to discuss and talk about and go over those things. But when you put down hard, cold fact, you have to be able to back it up.
Exactly.
At
Yeah.
that point, you've exited cool thought and you're entering into give me evidence.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, I've done research on the Egyptians, so I can say that they've done it, but I can't speak for any other culture, even neighboring cultures. I wouldn't. I don't know.
You,
Um,
I think it's also one of those things that because of the way that school teaches ancient history, there's a lack of comprehension on scope sometimes.
yeah. Yes.
To be clear, when
Yes.
we talk about ancient Egypt, I think we can all agree ancient Egypt kind of ends around Cleopatra.
Yeah. Well.
Egypt
Okay. Yeah.
had existed for so long at that point, Cleopatra was hiring archaeologists to go look at the ancient pyramids because they were ancient to her.
Yeah.
That was how far that dynasty lasted. You're talking such a massive period of history.
Hmm.
Um, Pink Merva, I sounds like you might be thinking of the Emerald Tablets of Thoth the Atlantean, the work of personal fiction by Doriel, versus the tablet of Hermes Trismegistus that we're discussing tonight. I don't want to go too deep on it because we are going to do a discussion on Doriel's tablets next week. It's up in Rebels. This is so weird. Posting here. It says the 15th, but
Yeah. It was supposed to be today, but I haven't updated that thing.
that was a bit of a
I
glitch.
I
Um,
noticed that like 20 minutes ago, and I was like, hopefully no one else does.
so it's kind of the opposite. Doriel's are not the original. This is the actual translation of the Emerald Tablet. It's about 14 lines long. In fact, so we have two different translations of Fulcanelli available. The one that you sent me, I'm assuming you've got handy, has two in
Yep.
it.
Yep.
So it's cool with you. I'm going to grab one of those that I have in my handy dandy book.
Sure.
And yeah. So this is Fulcanelli's translation. And for anyone not familiar with Fulcanelli, Fulcanelli is the pseudonym of a French alchemist who theorized that the alchemists in medieval Europe had cracked the code for the Philosopher's Stone, like a group of them, and had encoded it in architecture of the cathedrals in Western Europe, Eastern Europe. And so he went around to all the cathedrals and he went through the imagery and he believed that he recompiled it into the recipe. As a part of that, he gave his texts to his students and then disappeared. And so
What a prophet.
these translations, the reason we have two translations by him is his translation was in French. So we have two different people that translated his French back into English. And so I'm going to read
Yep.
one and then he'll do another. And it just really shows that even though it's the same guy's French, into English it came out two different ways. How many differences did he even have in the core?
Before
It
you
is
get started,
yep.
Drew was asking if we want any help breaking down the lines.
What do you mean?
What do you mean, Drew? Do you want to come up and join us? Is that
I
what
wonder
you're
if we
saying?
can we add another? Yes, we can
We
add
should
two
be able to.
more. Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome.
Is that what you mean, Drew? Karen says that she prefers the Latin text. We got that too. We got the Latin translation as well.
So,
But yeah, Drew, if we'll just go ahead and get started, Drew. If that's what you mean, go ahead and send us a I guess you're in my live, so send me a guest request and I can bring you up.
you can't guess, but we if he goes live, we can
Oh,
add him as a host.
okay, yeah. So if are you able to go live, Drew? Can you do that? Okay, yeah, you got 1,094. So if you go live on your page, we should be able to like or like request you to join our live stream.
Well,
If that's what you want. If you don't want to, you don't have to. But if that's what you were asking,
so the Fulcanelli
but yeah, go ahead and get
translation,
started.
V1. It is truth without untruth, certain and most true. That which is below is like that which is on high, and that which is on high is like that which is below. By these things are made the miracle of one thing. And as all things are and come from one, by the mediation of one, so all things are born from this unique thing by adaptation. The sun is the father and the moon the mother. The wind carries it in its stomach. The earth is its nourisher and its receptacle. The father of all the theleme of the universal world is there. Its force or power remains entire if it is converted into earth. If you separate the earth from the fire, the subtle from the gross, gently, with great industry, it climbs from the earth and descends from the sky, and receives the force of things superior and things inferior. You will have, by this way, the glory of the world, and all obscurity will flee from you. It is the power strong with all power, for it will defeat every subtle thing and penetrate every solid thing. In this way, the world was created. From it are born wonderful adaptations, of which the way here is given. That is why I have been called Hermes Trismegistus, having the three parts of the universal philosophy. This, that I have called the solar work, is complete.
Amen. All right. I'm going to read the second Fulcanelli, excuse me, translated from the Français de Siev King. This is the truth, this is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. As above, so below, and as above, as below, so above, and as above, so below. With this knowledge alone, you may work miracles. And since all things exist in and emanate from the one, he spelled emanate wrong, who is the ultimate cause? So all things are born after their kind from this one. The sun is the father, the moon is the mother. The wind carried it in its belly. Earth is its nurse and its guardian. It is the father of all things. The eternal will is contained in it. Thelema. Here on earth, its strength, its power remain one and undivided. Earth must be separated from fire, the subtle from the dense, gently with unremitting care. It arises from the earth and descends from heaven. It gathers to itself the strength of things above and things below. By means of this one thing, all the glory of the world shall be yours, and all obscurity flee from you. It is power, strong, with strength of all power, for it will penetrate all mysteries and dispel all ignorance. By it the world was created. From it are born manifold wonders, the means to achieving which are here given. It is for this reason that I am called Hermes Trismegistus, for I possess the three essentials of the philosophy of the universe. This is the sum of the total of the work of the sun. Fulcanelli's second translation.
Ex Ludo, see you again very soon. Looking forward to being back. So this is going to be
English,
fun
please.
because there's a couple of things in it that I'm like, again, going back to that untrue versus lying. So in the first translation we read, the end of line 2 is by these things are made the miracles of one thing. But in the second, it says, so all things are born. No, sorry. By these, the wrong translation. There we go. With this knowledge, you may work miracles.
Mhm.
With this knowledge alone, you may work miracles. So in this one, it's saying that you will come to understand how the miracles were made. Whereas in this one, you will come to understand how to yourself make miracles. And to me, that reads very differently.
It does read differently. Let me so and that which is by these things are made the miracles of one thing. So that seems to me to be the I mean um, the one thing isn't capitalized like it is in the rest of the things. So I can only assume he's talking about God. I would say that the first translation is talking about the miracles of God, the miracles of the one thing. Whereas you're right, the second one makes it seem like you are the worker of the miracles. Um, the only thing that I mean, I don't know why the translations are different, but to me, this would be the divine authority that we have as emanations of God. So if God can work miracles as above, so below, then we should be able to work miracles. But it would have been better if they put both of those into the same translation. Um, but yeah, that's my interpretation. English, please.
But
Sounds like the solar plexus chakra. Willpower is big with this one. I don't put too not that the chakras aren't real. I just don't put too much emphasis on them as maybe other systems do.
it is, we talked about this several times. There is danger in the occultism buffet. Where you just go up, be like, some sweet chakras. I'm going to put that on this plate with, let's dash a little bit of ceremonial magic on there. And
Yeah.
ooh, look, druidism. That sprinkles on nicely with everything. And then you've got this plate of uh, junk food. Not because the individual components are junk, but because those individual components were parts of a larger whole, a larger system that are designed and intended to be worked as a whole. And when you just borrow pieces from it, there was a video I watched recently where the speaker was talking about how if you read the book of the Emerald Tablets of Thought, the Atlantean, and you compare them to the teachings of Jesus, you realize that Jesus was quoting the book, the Emerald Tablets of Thought, the Atlantean,
Come
which
on,
we'll get
come
into next
on.
week why that is absolute gibberish. But that
Uh,
the Emerald Tablet, what it actually says, if you combine it with an understanding of chakras, was to simply press the top of your tongue against your tongue against the top of your mouth, and that would release all your Kundalini energy. Because of the visitation to the occultism buffet, none of the pieces had the substance to actually make a meal out of it anymore.
right.
And so while I fully respect chakra and I 100% those systems work, they're not a part of the systems I use. So I don't go too deeply on them because they're not part of the systems I use.
Yeah, I like Drew's explanation. He likens it to chakras, but doesn't necessarily say that they are. So he says son and father is gold and alchemy and like the crown chakra. Moon or mother meaning silver, aka masculine, feminine, divine union, or the alchemical marriage, aka hermaphrodite, hermit. Combining higher chakras from heaven and lower from earth. So I do get what you're saying, Sift, first person shooter. I just don't use the chakras within my system, so that's all.
And I do think you find a lot of, if you get
Not a
genuinely
disagreement.
deep into these other systems, you genuinely find that the song is a very similar song. Like those chords in the background, they're hitting those same notes because we are observing the same nature. We are explaining the same nature through different means. And
Yeah.
so, my point that I was making with the buffet is not that the chakra and kundalini system doesn't work. It's that it is a whole system to achieve this same goal. And so, borrowing pieces of it when I already have those pieces doesn't always mesh as well as a lot of modern esotericists seem to akin to. There was an anti-theist on TikTok I was watching, and It's one of those things you see it and you're like, wow, what they just said is so dumb that's going to stick with me. And he was talking about how, when you look at world religions and you look at world magic systems, you never see them repeating the same thing. None of them have a similarity. None of them have the same thing that repeats. Whereas in science, you have all the time where scientists make the same discoveries completely separate from each other. And I'm like,
Wait,
tell me you know nothing about
yeah,
esoterics.
wait a minute. Wait a minute. I mean, I'm not going to say all religions are saying, but a lot of them do share similarities, and those similarities are explaining a lot of the same things. So, but yeah, I mean, I guess if you're an anti-theist,
Yeah.
then Hermes Trismegistus, Thoth, or Thoth, however you want to say it, Mercury. It's like Mercury in the physical likeness of, or excuse me, it's like Mercury is the physical likeness of Quicksilver or gold. Drew, do you make content on alchemy, dude? I would love to see some of your like alchemical content if you have any. LOL, the occultism buffet. I know what you mean. I think most new age interpretations are garbage. Same, same. At least when it comes to the spiritual stuff. I don't have an issue with, we're all one, meditate sometimes, go outside and touch grass and all that. I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem with the channelings and the Galactic Federation and all that nonsense. So
Here's the thing. The New Age, there are parts of the New Age I tend to absolutely love because while I cake beef with certain parts of it, it is also responsible for a lot of modern occultism being so easily accessible.
yeah. Yeah, like recently I came into the knowledge of this thing called human design. And as much as I wanted to find fault with it, it doesn't make any grandiose claims. It doesn't claim to get you in touch with any gods or spirits, or it doesn't promise to make you some prophet of, the Space Federation aliens or anything like that. It's just how you can use certain spiritual things, mainly the I Ching, to be a better person in the here and now. It's not really concerned with the afterlife or your soul or spiritual ascent. It is very honest in that it takes from Kabbalah, it takes from I Ching and something else I can't remember at this moment. But it's honest. It gives all the foundation, it gives all the sources, and it doesn't pretend to be something that it's not. So I don't have any issue with New Age practices like human design because it doesn't claim anything grandiose. It doesn't pretend to be something that it's not, and it gives credit where credit is due to the I Ching, which is from China, and Kabbalah, which is Jewish. But then there are others out there, like what Blavatsky talks about, or Alice Bailey, or even in modern times, Zachariah Sitchin, even though he's gone. And, what's that? Jordan Maxwell. I saw a real pterodactyl over the skies of Arizona. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Okay, you old ass. Okay, he's gone. So sorry, I don't want to speak ill of the dead. But those are the New Agers that I have an issue with because he
But back
saw a
to
real
the
pterodactyl, apparently.
pterodactyl, like back to the old agers. There was one line I really want to get your thoughts on. Where is it?
Yeah.
Line 5. So last sentence on
From
mine is the earth
from
is
the
its
Puccinelli?
nourish. Yeah, Fulcanelli.
Okay.
The earth is its nourisher and its receptacle, versus earth is its nurse, which nourisher, nurse, okay, and guardian.
Yeah, see, that's why when I was saying the lines that I think I can understand, I didn't go anything before like 7. I I don't know, like I feel like the first translation where it says the earth is its nourisher and its receptacle. I don't know. I feel like that's maybe creation, like giver receiver type of a thing. But then the second translation, which says the earth is its nurse and its guardian, makes it sound like mother child type of a thing.
Well, yeah, well, I think like receptacle, you think you put something in something. It is the holder. It is the
Right.
thing that it contains. It's a bottle or a jar, but
So
you
that
don't.
could. Sorry, go ahead.
So I don't. I don't normally think of it as like an active protector.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. That's why I didn't include those. I mean, the line before 4, I think, is pretty But I don't know. The earth is its nourisher and its receptacle. Oh, wait. Let, let's go back. And as all things are and come from the one, by the mediation of the one, so all things are born from this unique thing by adaptation. So, emanationism. Okay, we're coming down through the fixed stars. We've got down through the planets. The sun is the father and the moon is the mother. Now, the moon is the last stop before you get to Earth if you're coming down from God. So the wind carries it on his stomach. I, I don't know what that means. I don't know that bridge right there. I can't connect that. But if the moon is the last stop, so technically, metaphorically, we're birthed by the moon. Spirit. I don't know. I'm reaching here. The earth is its nourisher and its receptacle. Since it's our last stop. This is where we live. This is where we eat. This is where we live. So it nourishes us, and we have to live here. We stay here, so it's our receptacle. But then, through the alchemical process in 7, we have to go back up. It climbs up from the earth and then descends from the sky. So that's
So
the
what you're
way back.
saying is we have to acknowledge both the above and the below as
Yeah.
having some kind of connection.
Yes. I'm just trying to that's what I was saying earlier, how I think I need to flesh my thoughts out on this.
One thing that you caught me with is you were talking about it carrying it in its belly, like the wind is the womb, but the wind is air, right?
Right.
And we know from reading the Corpus Hermetica so recently that the smallest part of the soul is nous, and the smallest part of the nous is the air.
Mm-hmm.
So the nous contains the air, which contains the soul, or which contains the air, which is contained by the soul, which is then carried upon the air.
So I don't
So
is that
Ex Ludo,
saying
welcome back. What we currently are getting caught on is we were reading 2 different translations from Fulcanelli, and
Mhm.
one of them notes that the Earth is, most of them say receptacle or something of that nature, but this one says guardian.
Yeah, like a protector? Not that a receptacle can't be a protector, but you usually don't think of a receptacle as a
Yeah.
protector. You think of it as like a holder, something that just holds something, may not necessarily protect it. Um, I don't know, man. But this is exactly why we do this, for elucidation. Yeah, I don't know. The wind carries it in its belly or its stomach. That is what's breaking me right now. That's like breaking my mind right now, and I don't
Oh,
know.
I hadn't thought about that. So Ex Ludo is noting that the wind carries it in its belly could very be well a reference to the universal seed, the actual like prima materia, the like
Okay.
core beginning of existence, I guess is the way to phrase it, which many alchemists say you should be extracting from or attempting to extract from rainwater, which is
Huh.
water, the first like the material, the thing that we descended into,
Yeah.
carried on the wind.
You know, my thinking is that since you were saying how the soul is part of the mind, which has some aspects of air, maybe the soul is carried on the air as it goes to and from. That's the only thing I can think of. That's really breaking my mind. I don't know.
I almost
They
wonder if
all
some of this isn't like. Have you guys seen the video of the girl trying to explain what it would be like being an extra dimensional being, and then like they have the little drawing of the 2D girl, and they like take her hat and turn it around, and to us that looks fine, but to the people there that would be horrifying because that cannot happen. That's physically impossible. What just happened? It would be
Yeah,
like you
I've
turning
never
by
seen it, but
turning inside yourself,
that would freak me
and
out if I saw somebody like inside themselves. I'm like, what the fuck?
so a lot of me is like wondering like how much of this is trying to explain the 4th and 5th dimension to our monkey brains?
I, I don't know. Uh,
Oh, oh,
n- never mind.
so Ethan Anderson. First of all, welcome, brother. I'm so glad to hear that you've joined the Masonry and become an Indian apprentice. Yeah, if you're interested in alchemy and the occult, you're absolutely home. This is absolutely a great space to talk about it. Just do bear in mind that they are separate from Masonry. They are. You may see certain similarities in the purpose of alchemy to make a better self, and the purpose of Masonry to make a better self, but they are still separate practices.
Indeed. Drew Dizzy says, I guess I have to figure out how to submit my knowledge to the public. I made music. I will soon. Awesome, Drew. I would love to hear your music, man. Read on the news, the mothership is coming. What?
Here's what you do,
On the
Drew. Here's
news?
what you do. Are you ready? Take your music, make it a TikTok sound. Use that sound for your alchemy videos.
There you go. Boom. You're rich.
I don't know if rich, but it'd be hella cool.
Karen, you read on the news, like CNN, Fox, Bloomberg, Reuters type news, that the mothership is coming? They said this on the news? That's crazy. I will share a post soon. Great. Yes, I would love to hear your music, Drew.
So, Rebel, apparently you muted Hummingbird.
Yeah, by accident a couple days ago. Yeah. So when I'm scrolling through, when I have this filter, whenever I scroll through, it'll move my thing around. So when I finally find a good method to like scroll, it won't move my thing, but it'll always click someone's name by accident. And usually I catch myself and then I'll back out of it. But sometimes I'm, tapping too fast and I hit his name and hit mute by accident. And then I had to like spend like 5 minutes trying to figure out how to like unmute him because he was giving as always excellent commentary in the chat. And he always answers questions before I can get to them. So that's always greatly appreciated. So I definitely wanted him in there talking. But it was definitely an accident when I muted him.
So Ethan, talking about the connections between masonry and alchemy, again, they are separate. But if you are looking for connections, A.E. Waite, as in the Rider Waite tarot decks, look into his history. Not gonna do spoilers, but look into his history.
Excuse me 1 second. All right, there we go. So, hint to all, we are also cells of a higher body. I hope you understand what that means. Air is akin to intellect, but it is not. But it is sacred, not mundane. Exactly. Yes, air is intellect, memory, wisdom. Well, the sun is more wisdom, but thought form is in everything. Nothing is blocked. Everything, anything can be created. Exactly. Thank you, Night, for the follow.
On the Manly P. Hall Secret Teachings, I absolutely adore Manly P. Hall, but do bear in mind that he wrote Secret Teachings when he was like, I can't remember if he wrote it when he was 19 or if he published it when he was 19. Um, it is, he does not have a lot of life experience at that point, and so there's a lot of things that he is just factually incorrect on that he will go on to correct himself on later. But at that point, some of the stuff you read may be like, that doesn't sound right. He was a young man when he wrote it. His later work, honestly, in my opinion, if Manly P. Hall had waited 10 years to write that book and done it with life experience that he got when he was 30 years old, he would be the most well-known occultist in the world.
Yeah. Agrippa was kind of the same way. He wrote the 3 books, or at least it was published when he was like 24, like 23 or 24. And he kind of did the same thing later on in his life. He like redid it to like update it and correct any of the errors that he may have had in his youth. And then people like to throw out there, but he also disavowed the work, like he said, this stuff, don't do any of this stuff. This stuff is evil, blah, blah, blah. But even though he did do that, we have to look at the circumstances of why he did that. We know that he was the personal physician to Queen Elizabeth, I think, her mother. He was the Queen Mum's like doctor or something like that. And until she passed, and then he fell out of favor because there was a new regime. So he fell out of favor because he didn't have his what do they call it? Not sponsor, but his uh I forgot what they called it back then, but someone who's giving you money to go do your work.
Oh,
It's not a
patron,
sponsor, it's something else. A
patron,
what?
patron.
A patron, yes. His patroness was not, she died. So there was a new regime, and that new regime probably was not so okay with his magic and his witchcraft. Well, it wasn't witchcraft, his Western esotericism. So he would have had to disavow it. He would have had to, or else they would have killed him. So, yeah, I mean, that happened within like 2 years of her. I believe it was Queen Elizabeth, but I could be wrong. But he was definitely the doctor of some queen's mother at that time. And when she died, he had to do whatever he could to preserve himself. So
Also, Pink Merva, you can be the king all you want, just don't be the king in yellow, and we're good.
and always beware the Ides of March. Beware the Ides of March.
Were there any other specific translations that have been like calling out to you there, my friend?
Yeah, I want to read the Blavatsky translation.
Of course you do.
Give me 1 second. It's like bothering me that I forgot the mother, who was the doctor he was.
It still amuses me that Blavatsky left off line 1.
Come on, man. I hate when I have to relook for something and like I can't find it because I'm not reading it slow like I was. Maximilian, okay. The Marcus, okay.
I love how many of these are translations of a translation that was translated.
It was Margaret, the Duchess of Savoy and the Regent of the Netherlands. He was appointed to her by Charles V. When she died in 1530, in 1533, the book was printed, and that's when he had to say, "Oh well, I disavow all of this, of course, but the knowledge must get out there." Like that doesn't make any sense. Why would you publish it if you didn't? So yeah. But anyway, sorry. Yes, let's read the Blavatsky translation. Do you want me to read? Or
Blavatsky. Oh, you go right ahead.
all right. From
You know my
Madame
feelings on that, Kreider.
from Madame Blavatsky. What is below is like that which is above, and what is above is similar to that which is below to accomplish the wonders of the one thing. As all things were produced by the mediation of one being, so all things were produced from this one by adaptation. Its father is the sun, its mother the moon. It is the cause of all perfection throughout the whole earth. Its power is perfect if it is changed into earth. Separate the earth from the fire, the subtle from the gross, acting prudently and with judgment. Ascend with the greatest sagacity from the earth to heaven, and unite together the power of things inferior and superior. Thus you will possess the light of the whole world, and all obscurity will fly away from you. This thing has more fortitude than fortitude itself, because it will overcome every subtle thing and penetrate every solid thing. By it, the world was formed. So she left out the beginning and the end.
Yep.
So the only thing about this translation that I like is when she says ascend, with the greatest sagacity from earth to heaven and unite together the power of things inferior and superior. Thus you will possess the light of the world, and all obscurity will fly away from you. That to me is the best way, without saying it, to say alchemic marriage. That's the best way to say ascend through the spheres and bring your higher self back or your HGA back and call it a day. So I do like that, but why did you leave out the first part where it's the most true and no lies, and the last part which talks about Hermes Trismegistus having the three philosophies and the solar work or the work of the sun being complete?
Blavatskyism.
There you go. She doesn't want you to have access to the source. And I wonder why she translated this. I wonder what was her intention with this?
Oh, that one's easy. That one I actually do know. Blavatsky is like her entire concept is that there's a singular perennialistic truth that has been echoing through all the different religions, and we've like had these great philosophers who have come forth and explained this to us so many times through all these different people. And so a large part of her work was that all these great figures through history were these, I forgot what she called them, but basically paragons of the human truth. And so, I mean, she of course is going to quote Hermes Trismegistus as among them because it's Hermes.
Yeah. Jeff James says, "What does she say about crossing the abyss?" I don't think she mentioned the abyss. Did I miss it? Yeah, no. I mean, unless you mean from something else, like another one of Blavatsky's works. I don't. Yeah, there's nothing about crossing the abyss here. Maybe you misheard separate the earth from the fire and the subtle from the gross. Maybe you misheard that as abyss, maybe, but unless you mean another work by Blavatsky, I don't see any reference to the abyss.
Hummingbird trying to start fighting chat.
Uh-oh, who?
Hummingbird.
Uh-oh.
Blavatsky, Crowley, and Atkinson are the unholy trinity of the three faces of Baal.
Ah, come on.
That was some like you woke up today and chose violence, brother Hummingbird.
Those are fighting words. Those are fighting words. All obscenities will fall away. To speak with absolute confidence and truth, not an easy task. Yeah, that's true. Thank you, Kenny. Appreciate the follow. Thank you, Kenny. Uh-oh. I almost muted Drew. See, I'm trying to scroll through the chat and I hit his name by accident. If I didn't catch myself, I would have hit mute or block or something stupid. I caught myself, Drew. So don't worry, you're good. And where is the tablet now? And there should be more writings elsewhere than just the one. What do you mean, like where, like the actual tablet itself, probably in like a museum or something like that, for any sort of copies. Original?
The original, like the actual like original glass tablet. We do not know.
Yeah,
well,
we don't have that.
We currently say Emerald tablet, but it is hard to say known because again, you're talking 2,000 years ago. Most likely, it was a type of green glass. There are other instances of such things existing. The original, no one knows what happened to it. I mean, you're talking trying to find an artifact 2,000 years ago with so many different legends about it. It probably is in some dude's tomb that we just haven't found yet.
Yeah.
As for writings, we have several writings from that time period that attest to it from different authors, from different areas that all have very, very similar translations. So it is not a thing where it's like, oh, this one guy had a translation and that's all we have. Like, there's several different authors that all in that same general time period that attested to having seen something that's in the same vein with very similar wordings. Everything that it talks about and all the words used and the selections are chronistically correct to that time period. So there is no there's no reason to doubt that at some point it existed. Now, what you can doubt is that it was created by Hermes Trismegistus. You could doubt that it was an emerald. It was probably some kind of glass. You could doubt that it is actually the secret to unlocking the great work and giving a human immortality. All perfectly fine things to doubt. It having existed in some form, that is most likely a historical event.
Yep. And thank you, Sift First Person Shooter, for all of the gifts and the sunglasses and the roses. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Truly appreciate you. And yeah, I tried to get into it, but I guess because all the background, it wouldn't find my face. But thank you very much. And Karen says thank you. She says, okay, thank you. Alchemic. And I agree, Lusum Fieri. Lusum says his first guess would be the Vatican basement or the library, the Vatican library.
You know,
And Drew said he will go investigate. He's going to Vatican City in a week. Well, give the Pope, my Deus and my Pater Nosters and my Ave Marias. Have fun too. Have fun. Are you going to do like the tour? Like, are you going to go on the tour? Listen, if you can get me not even the Pope hat. If you can just get me a bishop hat, I'll pay you whatever you want in
we will
Bitcoin.
visit you in prison.
If you can get me the bishop hat or his staff, yes, get me the staff. If you can get me the staff, bro, I'll send you so much Bitcoin.
But Karen, if you're still there, to kind of expand on it, because I was thinking it through, you might also be considering the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, the Atlantean by Doriel. If that is what you're referencing, you then are 100% correct. There is no historical evidence whatsoever to support the claim of their existence. We'll dive deeper into that next week in our Emerald Tablet versus Atlantean conversation.
Yep.
In which case,
next Wednesday.
then you'll get to hear the phrase playing a game of hide the Emerald Tablets with the staff.
I can just see how pissed off I'm going to get next week. How reading this nonsense, I'm going to be like, oh my God, people actually believe this.
On that note, please follow my backup account, Alchemic Mason 2, so that when my good friend, Mr. Rebel, goes off on a rant and gets us both banned, we can still continue our lives on our alt accounts.
I will do my best to keep myself in check. Afro Whiz Kid says, hi, I'm new here. Hey, Afro, what's the Emerald Tablet? Well, the Emerald Tablet is a hermetic tablet that outlines the alchemical process. That's his right here. Mine is in my here. I'll open to it. Mine's here. The Emerald Tablet literally just takes up one page, just the Emerald Tablet, and it is an alchemical text that outlines the alchemical process. Some say both for man and or soul and physically. Others may disagree. I would say it's both for one soul and physically. But there is the Isaac Newton translation right there. Thank you, Sift first person shooter. But yeah, anything you want to add?
No.
Okay.
Purportedly, it is the secret to unlocking immortality and gnosis and a true understanding of the universe around you. It's been an object of fixation for several of the greatest minds throughout history, including Isaac Newton.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the reason I love that so much is bringing up the fact that Isaac Newton not only thought it was cool, but genuinely believed in it and wanted to do the translation. I think to a lot of people, it lends the text a lot of gravity.
Yeah. Karen says no. She was talking about just the one Emerald Tablet, like the real one.
Okay.
So yeah, we're not sure about the where the original is. It's probably buried somewhere in some tomb under thousands of sand. Or thousands of feet of sand. Excuse me, not thousands of sand. Thank you, Sif. Jesus Christ! Oh my God, thank you, man. How are you doing that? How are you giving me 2 times? How is that possible? But thank you. Jeez, oh my God, it just keeps going up and all the way up. Thank you. It's still going. Thank you. Oh my God. Season. Thank you. Oh my God. Guys. You are the gift. You are the gift. You don't have to give me. And I say that after you've already given me 7,000 gifts. You are the gift. You being here is the gift. But I truly do appreciate it. Thank you, Season. Thank you. Oh, a dinosaur. My God, guys. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. What is that? What's that? Are you stealing my heart? It's a guy holding a heart. What? Jesus Christ, guys. Thank you. I truly appreciate it. The Papal Ferula shall be my TikTok show and tell live from the Vatican City. Bro, if you do that, you will surpass Charlie D'Amelio and, the Island Boys. You will be the most famous person on TikTok if you do that. And I will personally bail you out of jail. Vatican jail, of course. I'll come wearing my priestly garb so they'll think I'm one of them. And I'll infiltrate like some James Bond mission and we'll break you out. And then they'll turn that into a movie. Starring, I don't know, who could play me? Denzel Washington? Just kidding. Oh my God, Sift, oh my goodness, bro, you guys are phenomenal. You guys really don't have to send me any. You guys really don't have to keep sending me gifts. This is crazy, dude. Thank you. No problem, man. A worker deserves his wages. Thank you. God, sheesh. I think I'm going to read each line from the 5 translations I have at a time. Yeah, listen, do it. Compare them. Meditate on them. That's what they're there for. I want Will Smith. Will Smith, you know what? Okay. He's actually, I mean, despite, the slap, which I don't think is that big of a deal, he's a great actor. Or a good, I won't say he's great. He's good. He's a very good actor. I don't mind Will Smith. Or maybe Forrest Whitaker.
Karen, I was going through and I remembered that in addition to translations, my current book does happen to go over a couple of bits about the history. So John Marshall says that scholars have seen similarities between this book being the second books of the Elements of Foundation attributed to Jabir from the circa 800s. Between this book and the Syriac Book of Treasures, written by Job of Edessa in the 9th century. And more interestingly, the Greek writings of the Bishop Nemesius of Emesa in Syria from the mid-4th century. However, this suggests a possible Syriac source. However, though this suggests a possible Syriac source, none of the writings contain the tablet itself. So we have actual writings referencing it going all the way back to the 400s. The actual tablet. Oh my goodness. Sith, thank you so much.
Yeah, you're getting it.
He's like,
now you're getting it. Yeah, he's just dropping gift bombs on us.
I'm gonna have to
am I allowed to say that word on TikTok, the B word?
Bombs. It's found on TikTok, not at Xbox. So thank you so much.
Get into the library at the Vatican. Fill us in. Yes. Do what Karen said, Drew. If you can get into the Vatican library, bro, listen.
I got to get back down to the library that I was at in Atlanta for the Scottish Rite, because they have that translation of the tablet from the Rosicrucians that I'm just like, I need a copy of that text.
Yeah, I want to see that. I think he's great. I don't care that he slapped a motherfucker, to be honest. I watched my dad do the same over the same. Yeah. I think he could have handled it differently, but I mean, I get it. And Chris Rock got paid $20 million for it. So, well, not for the slap, but Netflix for his special. So that just came out last week. So I think he's okay with, getting slapped and getting a paycheck for $20 million.
So X Ludo said that the Golden Chain of Homer gave the Emerald Tablet meaning to them. The Golden Chain is such a book. Like, yeah, I think you could I was even talking to some of this, like I think it was a couple weeks ago with us. Someone was talking about, what 5 books would you take with you to a desert island? I was like, well, one of them is going to be the Golden Chain of Homer. I'm going to keep reading over that thing over and over again until I get off this island.
I mean, that would be the perfect time to perfect some alchemical practices if you're stuck on an island and you're able to bring all of your equipment.
Well, I mean, in theory, alchemy is replicating the miracles of nature. So if I've got nothing else better to do, I can probably watch it in nature.
True. Very true.
I do not have the Rams version of the Golden Chain. I'm still waiting to hear back from them on I was told, just give it time and it will arrive. So I'm just giving it time and hoping it will arrive.
Wait, what does that mean though? Like, they can't, did they ship it to you, but they don't know when it'll be there, or?
No. Apparently the people running it now are just super unresponsive. It's just putting a USB stick in the mail, but it is apparently it can take like 3 months, and it will just appear. It'll just arrive, but you will not have ever been told it was shipped. You'll never receive any notification. It just arrives.
Oh, wow. Okay. And yes, thank you, Sif. Thank you very much. And Alchemic, I'm sure, thanks you as well. You've been too good to
Yep.
us this evening, man. Thank you very
Absolutely.
much.
Thank you so
And
much.
Season as well. Thank you. You both are great.
So Son Broski was the one who told me that. Ex Ludo was confirming they ordered a copy from the Rams. And I keep wanting to say the Rams Society, which is annoying. But after just a couple of months, it just no notification had shipped, nothing that ever said it was done. It just in the mailbox.
Appeared. You are now worthy. And it appears. Is the
And
Golden
it's just
Dawn a
you
good
taste
reference?
it. It's all it is, right? Ex Ludo, it's just like they toss it in an envelope one day and send it to you.
Wow. I mean, but it's got some valuable info on there, so.
What is it? Ex Ludo, 2,000 texts?
That's crazy. Jeff James says, "Is the Golden Dawn a good reference for Enochian?" They are probably the most comprehensive. I would recommend a few other authors, but the Golden Dawn is probably the most comprehensive. Enochian magic in theory and Enochian magic in practice, and the author is eluding me right now, are both very, very good. And Aaron Leach's The Angelical Language is very good. Volumes 1 and Volume 2. Volume 1 has the information. Volume 2 is more of a dictionary, but you'll probably need both if you want to work through the text. That's all I can think of, because I don't really practice Enochian, so that's all I can think of off the top of my head. Enochian magic in theory, Enochian magic in practice, and the Angelical Language books.
Brother Hummingbird, who is very familiar with the Golden Dawn, says that if you want your Enochian to be even more complicated, then yes.
You can watch alchemy arise in nature. Why did Mason say this? It triggers me. Wait, what? Yes, that's true. You can watch alchemy rise in nature. Why did Mason say this? It triggers me. What do you mean? Can I show you your galactic signature in male and female unified in time? Huh? Cortland 11. What do you? Can I show you your galactic signature in male, female, and unified time? Sure. Show me that. I don't know what you mean.
Who did I trigger saying that you could watch alchemy arise in nature?
Yeah, I'm seeing if he's responding here. I'm Samael Lucifer Draconian, the Red Dragon. Oh, okay.
Who was it?
John Michael Greer.
Who was it
I'm
that
sorry?
I offended?
Drew Drizzy. He hasn't responded yet that I can see, but hopefully he'll be able to elucidate. I think he means or I don't think he means what it sounds like, but we'll see what he says. Jeff James, I like John Michael Greer. I've not read any of his Enochian stuff. I don't really study Enochian like that, so I'm probably not the best source on that. But I do like John Michael Greer's work, especially his work with Renaissance astrology, Michael Warnock or Christopher Warnock. Geez, Chris Warnock and John Michael Greer did a good translation of the Picatrix, which I'm a fan of. So.
Super fast, going back to the Enochian from the Golden Dawn. Number one, when using the Golden Dawn's initials before anything, such as Enochian, my brain does not originally read the letters GD as Golden Dawn. So I did a double take. Secondly, he says that Golden Dawn Enochian is like having a car with all of the fancy whistles when all you want to do is to learn to drive stick.
Yeah, that's why I said it's the most comprehensive. It like has everything, but yeah, but I would start with others like Aaron Leach, or I don't know why, but Enochian magic in theory and Enochian magic in practice. The author is eluding me at the moment, but look up Dracor Allen Instagram. Watch videos. All right, I'll take a look at that. I gotta head out for now, fellas. Great live, you guys. You are great speakers. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much, Sift. Thank you, brother. I'm gonna give you a follow.
Hopefully, we'll see you again soon.
I'm gonna give him a follow. as soon as it loads, it's like loading. Hold on, let me close it and go back in. There we go. I'm gonna give him a 13,000 followers. Oh, you're a Twitch streamer. Nice, dude. Nice, dude. Gave you a follow.
We gotta pester him until he becomes an alchemy streamer now.
Drew says he's not offended, just triggered. Triggered by what? Triggered by what? There was a Mason that was initiating me into alchemy, and he had to go out into nature to observe nature. Interesting. Alchemic, do you have any?
So I just brought up a memory. Okay, that
Oh,
like, I mean, while alchemy is attempting to recreate the nature of existence in a laboratory, so in theory you could observe it in nature itself. So I don't know why that would be like offensive, but if someone else was using it as an actual teaching method, I could see why that would like bring up some memories. I'm sorry.
Learned a lot. Well, good. I'm glad you learned a lot, Sift. Thank you for being here, man. Hopefully we'll see you next week. And I did just follow you, and I know you followed me, so hopefully I'll see you in some of my lives later on this week and early next week before we meet up with Alchemic Mason again for the Emerald Tablet reading, or for the Emerald Tablets of Thoth.
The spirit comes alive through the breath of God. I don't think any of the elements are ever referred, because in the Hermetic teachings, God doesn't really breathe.
Yeah, I think this might be like a Christian reference when God breathed into Adam and gave him life.
That would track.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, I don't know. I can't see what they're saying, but I think that's what they might be talking about.
The spirit comes alive through the breath of God, mentioning that it was most likely a Christian reference that changed the context. My brain was in straight hermetics and the good stuff.
Nature Neteru, like Golden Chain of Homer type stuff. Do I even have that? Because you guys keep saying that. Hold on, let me see. Because I have like 400 alchemical books, and I've got it. I've got like 400 books on alchemy. I've never read one of them. By Anton Joseph Kirchweger. The Golden Chain of Homer. What is nature? Like how all things proceed. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna have to read this.
It's just it's a philosophy book, so it's not like you're going to be getting out your test tubes. It is purely about the philosophies and understandings.
Yeah. I just from the chapters, like how the universal sperm is generated by the four elements. Yeah, this is definitely philosophical. Let me put this in my to read folder. There we go.
Okay, mercury, carbon, and sulfur. By carbon, do you mean the salts, like rendering the salts of an item down to its carbon form?
Excuse me. Jeff James says he loves your keys to the car analogy.
Oh yeah, that was Brother Hummingbird.
Okay, that's true. The spirit is breath of God. It's deeper than just Bible scriptures. Yeah, but that's probably what they were referencing.
Yes, Trekos, mind, body, and soul. That is the core of alchemy.
So Light and Dark says that they're going to take the crown. We know nothing, and he took the stars and read whatever they say about me. It's a lie. So I don't know who this person is and what they're saying, but yeah, that's it.
Rebel, I haven't read a single one. Alchemic, I have come to liberate you from such a burden. Talking about your alchemic texts.
Yeah, I think I sent them all to you. I don't.
It's one of those things. Like, I'm not saying like, oh, you need to become an alchemist. Obviously, everyone's going to have their own. But with something like the Golden Chamber, it's kind of like Agrippa. It's such just a foundational book to just get into your head and help you think. That I think you'll benefit from it by default.
Yeah, I'm gonna start reading this tomorrow. I'll start reading that tomorrow. No, LMFAO, your food like you eat cattle. What? What do you mean?
Yeah, I eat cattle because if the cattle could, they'd eat me first. You ever met a cow?
Do you mean like I am food, like I am cattle, or are you saying your food, like I have the ownership of food and the cattle is the food? Because then you go on to say the Matrix is real, and then you say I want the whole army this time. So I don't know. Those are three separate thoughts that have no connection to each other. So I don't know what you're trying to say
If
here.
the Matrix is
No, they
real, I
eat
think
meat.
you're lagging.
Me?
No, if they're
Oh,
saying the Matrix is real, I think they're lagging.
yeah. I don't do this often, but I'm gonna mute him because I don't know what any of that is. So salt body carbon 6. I don't understand. I'm sorry. I'm not an alchemist, so what does the Golden Dawn replace moon with air and mercury? Wait, excuse me. What does the Golden Dawn replace moon with air and water with mercury? I think you mean why. I can't say.
I am not
I
familiar
do
with
not
Golden Dawn
know.
systems. And again, lest I make the mistake of confusing anyone, I do not proclaim myself to be a master alchemist who understands the truths of our universe and is purporting knowledge. I am a neophyte. I am setting up my home laboratory at the moment. I've been doing kitchen alchemy thus far. Um, uh, so I am sharing my experiences with alchemy with people, not purporting myself to be a master alchemist. I have never and probably will never purport myself to be that.
Yeah, back during the days when I would get accused of being a gatekeeper, people used to accuse me of like claiming to be a master. I'm like, like, quote me. When did I ever say that? Show me. Show me where I said it. They can never do it. Don't be mad
I
because
do a video like every 3 or 4 months where I'm like, just so we're all clear, I am not claiming to be master of all these things. I am claiming to be a member of these communities and open to discussion upon them.
exactly. Exactly. Thank you, Karen. Appreciate it. Jeez, we're at 5K likes, guys. Thank you. Appreciate the love and the support. And you guys hanging out with us for 2 hours. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Great questions tonight. A great discussion. We stayed on topic.
Yeah.
No one asked you. Well, there were a few, but no one was in here, shitting on masonry and things like that. There was a couple questions about it, but
We had that one guy that was like, is it devil worship?
oh yes.
But
The first guy in here.
But I'm also not wearing any of my Mason paraphernalia tonight. I almost did because my hair is so god awful long. I need to get a haircut so badly. But I was like, wait, no, like I like wearing the hat. I love talking about it, but specifically with this topic, there's so much to dive into. I don't want to get off on those tangents.
Yeah, I can't help myself sometimes.
Trinkets, yes. Salt, mercury, and sulfur represent soul, mind, and body. That is in alchemy. Those are alchemical terms for those three things. They're the key components of any alchemical equation. And all matter and reality are built from those three central elements. Not elements, because elements is it's conflated terminology, but yes. I wanna end it with or to do one more reading of a translation just because like I'd never seen this one before and it's such constituents. Thank you, Exludo. It's such just a cool translation.
Okay, whose is it?
It's
Which is it?
Jabir ibn Hayyan from the Holodomor 1923 translation. But it begins with truth, certainty, that in which there is no doubt. That which is above is from that which is below, and that which is below is from that which is above, working the miracles of one. And all things were from one. Its father is the sun, and its mother the moon. The earth carried it in her belly, and the wind nourished it in her belly, as earth which shall become fire. Feed the earth that which is feed the earth from that which is subtle with the greatest power. It ascends from the earth to the heaven and becomes ruler over that which is above and that which is below. And I have already explained the meaning of the whole of this in 2 of these books of mine.
So if someone was not alchemical or hermetically inclined. This is probably the most confusing out of all the translations that we've read, or at least the most unclear. Um, so the earth carried it in her belly, and the wind nourished it in her belly. Uh, that's far removed from the other translations that we were reading, where it was saying that the wind is like its guardian or its receptacle.
The wind didn't just nourish it. The wind nourished it as earth,
Yeah,
which shall become fire. Where the
yeah,
others are saying separate the earth from the fire. Like it is so radically different from the
yeah.
other ones. Like it's very recognizable that it's that. But there's so much just like that's the opposite of what some of the others were saying.
And then feed the earth from that which is subtle with the greatest power. Um, I I don't maybe that's an alchemical thing, and that's why it's not clicking with me. I don't know what that means. It ascends to heaven, or excuse me, it ascends from the earth to heaven and becomes ruler over that which is above and that which is below. So that stays the same. That's the alchemical marriage. But
It little says that all that still tracks alchemically, which is just
okay,
is the beauty of the art is that you can have things that seem so contradictory, but they're still fundamentally correct.
right, yeah. And to me, I don't study alchemy, so I like to me it all doesn't track. I mean, well, some of the verses obviously make sense, but um, is alchemical marriage the proverbial prince kissing the queen? I've never heard of that, but the alchemical marriage is knowledge and conversation with your holy guardian angel. So basically, I guess the New Age would say you becoming, you bringing down your higher self. So you and your higher self becoming one. That's probably the most mundane way to explain it. But essentially, you come into the knowledge and conversation with your holy guardian angel. So you merge with them and you become one. So
You come to meet your Agathos Daemon.
Agathos. Prima materia, he means salt, sulfur, mercury. Salt is body, sulfur is cardinal spirit, mercury is the mutable soul. Interesting. Could you say who wrote that translation again? Jabir ibn Hayyan. There you go. There you go, Karen. Can you put a little
Trying to
closer
get
to the camera? The
trying to
name?
get the name and the
Oh, you're trying to get them both in
citation
there?
together.
Jabir, Karen, Jabir, Jabir, Ibn, Ibn, Hayyan, or Hayyan, Hayyan, two Y's.
And then there's the citation.
Yep. Oh, we're probably reading. I probably have that exact same because yeah, that
Are
is
you
the
being cute
exact
right
same
now?
notation.
Are you
I
being
think we have the
cute?
exact same book.
Mystic, are you being cute?
No, I'm
I
thinking I'm
told
reading
you
the
I
exact same
printed the
book.
one that you sent me.
Wait. Oh, wait, okay. I thought that was your book. Sorry. I thought that was like your actual book.
Oh no.
Sorry, I thought that was
The
the
book
book,
is awesome,
not the
but it
printout.
didn't have that translation in it. That
Yeah,
was from the one you sent me.
Drew says to look up the Emerald Tablet of Hermes on Sacred Text. The Jabir translation is the first one. Yes, and Sacred Text is a great site. There's some stuff on there that might not be so
Honestly, if
great,
you're
but
at all interested in occultism or esotericism, any kind of philosophies, sacred texts should just be bookmarked on your computer. Honestly, you could even make it your homepage and just
yeah,
click a different link and read something every day, and you will become a better person off of it.
yeah.
It's just
So in that case, there's probably three websites that you should do that with. So Sacred Text is one. Esoteric Archives by Joe Peterson is another one. And he almost everything on there is his own work. Like he's an actual author, but he doesn't make you go buy it. You can go buy it if you want, but he's expensive. So he puts it online for free. All of his like medieval Renaissance research, all that stuff is on there for free, as well as English.grimoire.cz, or probably three sites you might want to bookmark for occult, alchemic, esoteric, mystical texts.
and
So
since we
those three.
are heading towards the wrap up, if you are interested in alchemy, if alchemy is something that is deeply interesting to you, I so highly recommend going to the Restoration of Alchemical Manuscripts Society, RAMS, and looking into picking up one of their sticks. They are a group who decided that the ancient medieval texts, the different translations from across the world, them going and being lost to the sands of time would be a travesty. And so they got together and they have been working to translate and digitize one of the most massive alchemical libraries in existence. And then they sell it on a USB stick for like $40. It is more than a lifetime of work to go through all those texts. So you are not just purchasing it to claim this huge thing. You get it to help fund them preserving those texts. You are also helping to preserve them by having a copy yourself, and as well gaining some phenomenal educational material.
I wonder if all those alchemic books that I have are from that.
It's very likely.
Because I've got, I mean, I stopped counting when I sent them to you at 400, so that's why I always say 400 because I stopped counting. But yeah, this is a lot. There's like I'm still scrolling here. This is a lot.
And
so
BK,
very
yeah,
daunting.
absolutely. We do this not just to share knowledge. It seems kind of trite, but we get a lot of knowledge out of this as well, because through these discussions, like the entire reason we started this is the Hermetic texts are so deep and so nuanced. Trying to read it by yourself, you could spend a decade on it and still not have even a baseline comprehension. So having these conversations, reading them, and then having the discussions with each other and with y'all, it broadens our understandings as much as it does allowing us to share our love with others.
Exactly. I agree 100%. The merging of the consciousness and the subconscious. My last question. Thank you guys. You're welcome. But what is the question, Jeff? What's the question there? Only have Arabic, Newton, Beto, and Latin translations. Thank you for sharing. You're welcome. You're welcome. The alchemical marriage is just the divine feminine aspects hemi-sync with masculine logical side. I mean, maybe that's more alchemic. I was always trained it's the knowledge of conversation. You're welcome, Karen.
Yeah. Gender is something that exists on a physical level. So divine feminine always kind of rubs me raw, because those are things that nature has, not divinity.
Very true. Especially in hermetics. Very true.
If anything, you could almost make the argument that the divine marriage is the merging of yourself to such a point that you shed the necessity for that.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of the Theosophical Transactions of the Philadelphian Society?
Is the Theosophical with a capital T or a lowercase t?
Capital T.
I know who they're associated with, but I have never heard of them directly.
Yeah, it says it was a short-lived magazine that appeared in 1697. But I'm just going through all these alchemic texts, and one of them says on the Philadelphian gold, and I thought it meant like actually Philadelphia. So I opened it, and apparently it's a conversation between Philocrisis and Philadelphus, and it's this conversation between them. It says a conference betwixt Philocrisis and Philadelphus on the Philadelphian gold. Interesting.
It's mind-boggling that this was what I was talking about in a previous video that I did, where I was talking about how much you could actually learn about magic online. You can spend 15 minutes on the Library of Congress website and have more texts than pick your discipline of magic, whether it's alchemy, druidism, ritual magic, Solomonic magic, than any of the people in ages past had access to in their entire lives.
Amen. Exactly. If they say that's
Just
not it, then what? Silver is referring to the feminine. In fact, it's the divine feminine that 90% of our minds we don't use. The God mind Christ. Well, I don't study alchemy, so I can't answer what is silver referring to or anything like that. But yeah, in my Western esoteric practice, we refer to the alchemic marriage as the knowledge and conversation with one's holy guardian angel. Soul alchemy, not physical alchemy. So, but that's it on my end. Do you have any other questions on your end, my friend?
Ex Ludo, are you still available? See to see if you can to check my. I have like I don't want to say it's a tick, but I always get rubbed wrong when people bring up like the divine feminine because like in the Hermetic text, it's so very clear that as souls we don't even have gender. Like our souls, we only have those when we come to Earth because they're it's necessary to operate in the natural world. But all the Hermetic stuff that I've seen, all the alchemical stuff, it's all moving towards hermaphroditic. It's the shedding of those gender roles. So having
Yeah.
the divinity be feminine, the masculine be the physical mind, just doesn't sit right. Now there are feminine divine aspects of the natural world that do get fused. Ludo mentioned earlier the Red King and the White Queen, but that's not the divine feminine. That's a natural part of the world with feminine aspects.
I agree. Yeah, well put, higher self, lower self. Thank you, thank you. Look up anima and animus if you want hermetic terms. Okay, thank you. I will. I mean, I'm familiar with those terms in a definition way, but I will look them up for a deeper meaning on maybe what you're speaking about.
Now, Ex Ludo came through. Feminine and masculine are allegorical and refer to the energy and oppositions in material reality.
Okay, all right. I can get behind that.
I say a lot of words to explain what Ex Ludo does in like a sentence, apparently.
I'm the same way. I go on long rants when I'm doing my live streams. Um, but thank you all for being here with us this evening. It was a very, very, very informative live stream, reading the Emerald Tablets, or the Emerald Tablet and the translations, I should say. Um, if you guys have an interest in this stuff, which it seems like most of you do, join us same time next week, Wednesday, 9 p.m. We'll be doing the Emerald Tablet versus the Emerald Tablet or Emerald Tablets of Thoth. We will be comparing them and discussing why the Emerald Tablets of Thoth are nonsense, essentially.
We could
And then
also call it
maybe,
fact versus fiction.
yeah, yeah. Um, in Kabbalah, divine feminine and masculine represent the tree of life. That is true. That is true. But I don't practice Kabbalah. I do study it a bit, but I don't practice it.
Ex Ludo
But
says that they're excited for the trash fire of next week.
let's do it. Let's get this dumpster fire started. But if you guys have any interest in alchemy, if you have any interest in Freemasonry, please give Alchemic Mason a follow. Wealth of knowledge on this stuff. And he's planning on doing a video series where he actually does some alchemic experiments. So
I
follow
have
him if you're interested in those sorts
got
of
a
things.
space reserved in my basement. I've been working on it. It's it's going to. I got to figure out how to keep the cat out of it. But once I can keep the cat out, I'm gonna get the equipment put in so I can actually start my own little alchemy lab down there. That's gonna be so much fun.
There you
And
go.
everyone, if you have any interest in occultism, especially focused on grimoire magics, please, and you want a no nonsense approach, an actual fact based, intellect based approach to esoteric and occultism, please follow my good friend Mystic Rebel. He is just an absolute wealth of understanding. And please make
Thank
sure
you.
you do your absolute best to bring up your connection to Starseeds and the Galactic Federation every time you see him, and just see how far of a rant you can get him on.
Yeah, I will drop down the rant rabbit hole until I can't go any further.
On that note, I am joking about that. Please do not get him banned. I need my reading partner for these events.
You're welcome, Karen. You're welcome. And Karen will be here next week. Thank you.
I look forward to it. Everyone, is always a pleasure. I look forward to next week. And yeah, see you soon.
All right, brother. Have a good night, man.
You take care, my friend. Bye.
Thank you. And Annie Terriano, no worries. Thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up. But yeah, we're about to hop off for the evening, so no worries. But I'll probably be live tomorrow. Uh,
You're welcome. You're welcome, Jeff. I'll stick to asking about angel numbers. All right. Well, that'll be it for me, guys. Thank you very much for being here. Truly appreciate each and every one of you. Why is it bigger than normal? It's usually like, there you go. There you go. There you go. Get tiny. There you go. I didn't know I could do that, though. Oh, that's crazy. I never knew that. Look at my big face. That's crazy. Okay. Whatever. Okay. I'm getting off anyway. Thank you all. Truly do appreciate each and every one of you. Great questions, great conversation, great discussion today. I'll probably be live tomorrow. But yeah, join us next week if you're interested in this kind of stuff. And as always, seek the mysteries. Peace.